come here to remind us that it's not just mental, it's an emotional, physical, passionate, loving essence that we're trying to bring to the world. And that's why I'm joined by my two colleagues here who have devoted their lives, really their lives, and I have to say every second of their life, to the evolution of humanity. I feel very fortunate to work with them and travel with them. We do conferences because I learned so much from their experience and their insights. So I'll just say a few things, and then I'll introduce Doctors JJ and Desiree Hurtak and their great work. But the reason that we're all here today is because people like JJ and Desiree have laid the groundwork for others to come forward and trust their intuition, trust their higher knowledge. When Dr. Hurtak had an experience in 1973 where he was taken off planet and shown the higher realms, he brought back a body of wisdom that we're still deciphering and interpreting and learning from. And so the Book of Knowledge, Keys of Enoch, is a treasure for the star seeds as a kind of manual for their awakening. And I've learned from that. And I feel this is such a momentous time on the planet. And we've been tracking this. We've been tracking the whistleblowers. We've been tracking the work of Danny Sheehan and Jim Garrison inside Washington, Steve Bassett. There are people at the forefront working for us, and we are here behind the scenes, in a sense, doing the research, connecting the dots so other people can come forward and say, you know what? I think I've had a download. I think I'm a starseed. I think I'm connected to the stars. And imagine the moment, and these guys have done it, where we're all wake up to our true divinity, our true essence. So with that, and I'll be commenting too, I want to bring in Drs. JJ and Dr. Desiree Hurtak to comment on their starseed galactic research over the past 50 years. Would you say?
Thank you very much. We are futurists, social scientists, anthropologists, musicologists. If you look at the ancient documents and paintings of China, Tibet, even the ancient Near East, you'll see the many colors, the many eyes, the many arms of this cosmic reality. And this is the perplexed situation our governments have had to face. There's so many different levels of knowledge, but it comes together through divine love and divine service.
Yes, I want to say, we talk about the governments, but in actuality, the reason why there is starseed people coming in right now is because we don't have to wait for the governments. We can go straight to understanding who we are. I had an experience in my teens also of an extraterrestrial vehicle. And then Dr. Hurtak in the early 70s had a unique experience where he's taken beyond the local heavens, beyond the extraterrestrial, as we say in Alan Steinfeld's book, Making Contact.
You know both of them.
Yeah, actually into the higher realm. So he was told that the extraterrestrials that are watching this planet are the ones that are bringing forth a lot of the information, a lot of the people as well, like the starseeds, to advance our planetary system. We actually live a bit in Silicon Valley, and there's a lot of, we'll say, scientists, engineers that are getting downloads about how to do the technology. And whether you like robots or not, that's a different story. But the point is, they are actually bringing in the technology. And Dr. Hurtak was told in the 70s that 64 areas of science would take a quantum leap. So we're all prepared for what's going to happen. And what's going to happen, Dr. Hurtak? What's the deal?
So we're going to really understand that we're part of a much greater cosmic family. In my book, The Keys of Enoch, which I'm showing here, is the image of the dove, the sign of peace, and the 7 radiations of light represent knowledge of the 7 chakras that are being opened. In this book, I also engage one of the great European artists, Mareka Posuma, a Dutch artist, to illustrate some of these keys. We see here the Wheel of Life, the Divine Mother symbol, and then the different extraterrestrial and extracelestial life forms, which means we are being prepared to join a family of nations as a galactic humanity. And this has been the problem from the government sources that want simple answers. only in one linear level. Well, that the universe doesn't work that way. It works on many levels, but it begins really with the youthful experience of co-creation,
Right.
co-creativity, and we will call the divine spark that brings all of this into a higher purpose.
Right. So what the Hurtaks was saying, it takes so many aspects of the human being to come forward: the psychological, the intellectual, the logic, the emotion, the compassionate. This is who we are becoming as a new race of human beings, as fifth dimensional beings, beings that can interface with the other galactics. We can't do it from the old human level of anger, war, hate. Those things are fading away, and we're seeing the last uprise, I feel, of those old ways of the old humanity. We are at the verge of becoming new beings, all of us. That's why I love working with these guys, these teammates, because they live that truth, their lives. And I think everyone here is realizing who we really are. So we are coming together and forming a great synergy of awareness. This is a term Bruce Lipton uses, and we're here in San Diego to kind of work with Bruce this weekend. Bruce says the synergy of awareness is when all the cells, let's say, in your body come together, focus on one thought, one consciousness. So we are cells in the body of humanity. And when we come together and have a united thought, that's the synergy of awareness that brings together our community. And when we come together as one being, one greater humanity, that lets us speak to the other worlds, to connect with them, to become an even greater super organism.
Right, because even quantum physics says, we're entangled with the universe, but ultimately our thoughts really have to be received and enjoyed by the other alien races. They don't want someone that's angry all the time. They don't want someone who's negative all the time. What do they want us in space like that? What does Stan Freeman say?
Who wants to be friends with a bunch of apes whose favorite pastime is tribal warfare, which has been our history. We have to rise up at it. There are no divisions of humanity. There are no countries, no religions, all the things John Lennon talked about. We can live that because we are coming into a new time of united humanity, right, JJ?
Absolutely. And the reason the keys of Enoch are so important is they predicted, and this is 1973, and it's written in the book, 2004 would be the time of initiation on the gut level. And of course, 2000 and 2004 came and went. It was not until 2017 that members of the Pentagon community released the extraordinary films of what happened off a naval ship called Nimitz in the South Pacific.
And actually right off where we are in the Pacific.
But JJ, you
Ocean.
predicted, you said 2004. How did you remote view that future here?
Well, it was the situation, Ellen, where I was able to be activated as a social scientist. I had already studied ancient languages. I was teaching Eastern philosophy, both the Tibetan Buddhist as well as the Taoist, as well as the ancient mystical traditions of the Judeo-Christian tradition. So I saw how there was an overlap between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the human mind. That one part of our brain thinks scientific, the other spiritual or multidimensionally. Speaking and the color patterns and voice patterns and linguistic geometries that have to be brought together. So it was really the preparation I had that allowed really for me to see the overall blueprint, the roadmap of the future. And I'm very excited that we're reaching a point finally after 80 plus years in terms of intellectual property that the U.S. government has had, that they're going to say, well, there is life out there. We have to prepare for it. So what I want to say in our conversation with all of you is post-contact. What happens afterwards? We need the psychology and sociology more than the technology if we're going to get around with our friends.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. The left brain has been so dominant. It's the aggression. It's the limited part. Then the right brain has been the more intuitive. But we need to be whole brain beings. This is what we're coming into now.
As well as whole heart beings.
Well, yes.
Because without the compassion, without the higher love, without the high empathy, we don't understand really the other situations we can merge with and likewise share with as we begin to understand how we are being prepared literally to go into other solar systems.
And to bring in the feminine, of course. That's why you're
Thank
here.
you. Yes, and these other beings, really, they are, I'll call them, oftentimes, there's some dualities, the male, female, but a lot of them are androgynous. A lot of them are actually able to be balanced. And we look at not just the extraterrestrials in the local system, like Zeta Reticuli and Tau Ceti, but also the higher systems like Orion and the Pleiades. And these are some of the origins of the consciousness that is connected with higher states of awareness.
Well, let's lay out the background, because in my chapter in your book, you talk about extraterrestrials, you talk about extracelestials, and you talk about ultra-terrestrials. Let's make the distinction between those.
Yes, the extraterrestrials are those like us, only thousands of years more advanced in terms of physical technology.
But they don't always have the consciousness. Now, there's different extraterrestrials, so we have to realize that.
Probably billions of different races.
Yeah, but some of them don't have the consciousness. We actually think we actually have a higher soul consciousness. This is something Linda Moulton Howe says, and that's why you have these star seeds, because they're able to have those soul consciousness and come into different planetary systems that need their help of their species.
For those who can shift from the consciousness that we call three-dimensionally to the higher levels of consciousness, we call the ultra or extra celestial.
Extra celestials. Explain that a little more.
Well, let me say that.
Yeah.
So basically, they are usually beings that have been here or been around here for a while, and then they've gone on. But they don't have to take a physical form. They can take a consciousness material, form. So in other words, they don't materialize and stay here permanently. And they are also spiritual guides, usually, that are here to help us. And they can go to other planets as well to help others connected with us and connected with whoever they're interested in.
I also want to say their guidance is also part of their lesson. So they're not just here guiding us. The whole cosmos is consciousness evolving to different levels.
And then when you get on the high end,
I just want to say the extracelestials don't fly around in a flying saucer. That's a very important thing to understand. They are still in the local space, but they are able to
Extracelestials.
extracelestials.
And what are you saying, JJ?
I'm saying that as you go to the high end of evolution, you go to those who have gone beyond evolution. They don't have to evolve anymore. These are the ultra-terrestrials. These are what the ancients called the avatars. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, we call the higher angelic or the archangelic. Those are the forces of Michael. Those are the forces of Metatron. Those are the forces that bring the supreme knowledge into balance with the supreme or divine science. Because ultimately, we are evolving a new science. We call future science guided by consciousness. And this is what we need to explain. We have commentaries and illustrations and film documentaries on the Keys of Enoch. So go to our website for those of your interested, keysofenoch.org. And there's a plethora of not only physical, scientific documents, but also musical mantra type experiences, like you heard from Neil earlier in our discussion, where you open up the chakras or the energy points of the body.
But the other thing I want to just bring in, what their Hurtaks also mention in their books, is that we're not just in one universe. There's a multiverse. They talk about the Son, Father, and Mother universes. So what is the different fields of universes and the differences in these beings from these universes?
Well, in essence, what we call the spiritual universe really deals with the subatomic, the interdimensional side. We don't see we can make on a hypothesis on, but really the breakthroughs that are now taking place in terms of consciousness science shows that everything we have has already been shaped to some degree by cosmic forces, oscillations. That would be the spiritual universe that is giving us the ground structure for the physical forms and all of the varieties.
Right. And so this is the kind of hollow movement understanding. And ultimately, the idea of David Bohm, if anyone's interested in the science side of this, look at what he said. He said that there's all this energy behind, and we call that the mother universe or the Shekinah universe, and that those codes, those energies are what goes into the manifestation of our universe. And our universe is not just 3/4th or 5th dimensional. Dr. Hurtak was shown it goes up to the 24 dimensions of just our universe. So in addition to that, but it's not a big bang. It's not like, oh, well, let's see how it goes and whatever happens, happens. No, there's these codes of light and energy and balance and mathematics that go into the universe that we're part of. But I want to go back to starseed for a minute, because, really the starseed people are those usually from other star systems that are local universe, like Arcturus. In fact, Dr. Hurtak's well known for speaking about Arcturus in 1973 in his book, The Keys of Enoch.
Was not understood until much later that Arcturus was one of the areas of cosmic contact.
And actually, it's also not part of our Milky Way. It's actually, there's something called the Arcturus stream, which means the energy of the planet comes with a stream that's coming into our system. And it's been known even by the ancients that it was part of a shepherding mechanism. So those from Arcturus are usually here to help us, to give us more of an understanding of who we are, but also those from the Pleiades as well, and those from Orion. We believe Orion is actually part of a vortex. Like we have vortexes on the planet that take us from here to there. Well, Orion will take us from this reality, this universe, to other universes. There's a vortex there as well.
I want to say, though, the bottom line for this is that we're all infinite beings. We have the divine nature in us, and we can access these realms. In the human experience, we're learning to gain more and more awareness.
And that's why the Keys of Enoch speak now of the divine offspring, or those situations that ultimately come into physical form. That represent really what scientists call the main sequence of star evolution, that we are sons and daughters in that sense of the Christed energies, that is to say, that of the higher light, the higher purpose, the higher love that gives purpose and inspiration and direction to come out of the infinite way into physical form for a momentary expression of three-dimensional reality.
The one thing I want to kind of conclude with as we wrap up is that we are coming into a new time, a new vibrational sphere is unfolding. So Desiree, what does the future look like?
It's bright. It's positive.
Okay.
Because that's why we're all here. This is such a critical time to be here. So please, everyone needs to be here. Everyone needs to find their mission. Everyone needs to help be light bearers, be transmitters of light and peace and love for this planet. That's why we're here, because there's a great day of graduation coming. It's not just us being here. We're going to be connecting with extraterrestrial races, whether the government says something this year or not. I hope they do, of course, but we are actually going to be calling forth these higher energies. They're going to be coming to this planet, first through consciousness, but second through physical appearances. So that's why we're here. We're all going to be prepared for this. We're all going to know what's going on, and we're all going to be helpful in this transition
This
process.
is the time that Alpha and Omega, with the beginning and the end, come together. We begin to realize our evolution is one of many. We have reached really the Omega point of being able to now expand and to see the diversity of life forms, with the Christ figure in the New Testament called the house of many mansions. There are many mansions or many evolutionary levels. So we give purpose in our prayers, in our meditations, in our mantras, but really in our service to humanity. That's why we're here, why we are incarnate beings of light in physical form.
Right. This is our graduation day. This may even be like the coming together this weekend, this year, this decade is when we realize that we are these star seeds. We are the beings we've been waiting for. I know that's cliche, but this is a graduation, hopefully, for the planet, so we can start to live, everyone here, our purpose. Imagine if there was free energy. Imagine if people weren't enslaved to a system, to a matrix, and could be here to be the creative unfolding. I call it the flowering of humanity. We are here as creators to emulate creation with our creativity. That's really why, and the purpose of incarnation. So this is our destiny, I feel, as human beings, as starseeds, as those way showers, to be the creative essence of your divine being and spread this genius that is inside all of us to make us happier, more expanded, more joyful, more feeling. That is our ultimate destiny, I feel.
So let us say, may the light be with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe persevere and take shall we say, the opportunity to quietly collect the energies of our heart and spread it out around the planet, no matter what the situation of the media, of war, death, violence. Go beyond this and realize we're here for something we will call the good news, the higher purpose, the higher upliftment of humanity, in the ultimate, shall we say, graduation that we are making as a human species into the galactic family of nations.
And let us take each morning to do a meditation, in the evening if you can as well, to bring in your greater mission, to realign yourself with your true source. Oftentimes the source can be of the highest level, but also then why are you here? You can answer that question right now to realize where you're from, what star system you're connected with, and where that consciousness is leading you, whether it's in jobs, whether it's in your life, fellowship or relationships. We are now also finding our cosmic family.
Right.
And so feel the divine spark. Cultivate that wondrous energy of an everlasting process of evolution. We will call it the higher evolution, something that is beyond just the physical form, that will take us into a whole transformation, and understand that we can make a difference. No matter how few we are ultimately thinking of multiple millions of people collectively who will be the critical mass for this change.
Right. But this is not just about words. It's what JJ and Desiree talk about: frequency, music, sound. So JJ, Neil spoke a little light language, but you're an ancient linguist. I mean, you understand ancient language. You want to give us a sound vibration from one of these ancient
from the Hebrew Aramaic. Again, we're speaking now the Aramaic, also connecting all of the languages of the Middle East as we celebrate a peaceful solution to this tragedy in the Middle East. Adonai Shema. Let me intone it 3 times. Adonai Shema. Adonai Shema. Adonai Shema. May this light protect the children, the poor children of this horrendous struggle in the Middle East. May the light and the vibrations allow us to reach out to Africa, to Asia, to all parts, to ennoble those who are destitute, those who are in need of food. Let us be the spiritual food. Let us be the touch of love and compassion. Let us be the eyes of the future. Let us go beyond the boundaries of those who want war into those who want peace.
And let us realize that all of us are star seeds in some way. And we are also empowered to do something, to send our consciousness energy to places of struggle and to give our love, our help, and our compassion. Even if we're not physically there, we can be consciously there, and we can help humanity around the world.
And we're all connected. We are all one consciousness, one being. All of us have to wake up together. All of us have to be responsible for peace, for love, creativity. This is the mission of the Starseeds. That's why they're here. This is why we are talking about the ultimate galactic conference this weekend, because we're all part of this. There's no separation. So this is our message. This is our love and thanks to the Hurtaks. And there's no better way to lead off this conference, right, Michelle, with people who have devoted 50, 60, before most people were born. These guys were at it, bringing in the message. So thank you.
Leading the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel our entire audience is going off right now with just how powerful and activating. The 3 of you together are pure magic. And I thank you for everything that you brought through. What a great way to kick us off.